everyone, my name is Revalina Cinta. Today, I want to explain about what kind of genre text. But this video, I just explain three types such as procedure, report, and narrative text. Before that, I want to ask you something. Have you ever read instructions about how to make food, use something, or to do an activity step by step? Well, that kind of the text is called a procedure text. What is procedure text? A procedure text is a text that explains how to do, how to make, or operate something through a series of steps. Basically, procedures texts help us understand the correct way to do something step by step. So the purpose of the procedure text is to give interactions of directions clearly and systematically so the readers can follow the step correctly. It means the text helps people avoid confusing or mistakes because the interaction are arranged in order. The procedure text usually has a three generic structure. The first one is a goal. The goal tells us what we want to do or make. The second, materials. Materials contain the tools or ingredients needed. The third, steps. Steps is explain the sequence of actions from beginning until the end. These part are very important in the procedure text. But in my opinion, procedure text is very useful in daily life because it helps people understand interactions easily and avoid the mistake when doing something. Without clear interactions, people might get confused when making or doing something. Next, we move on to the example of procedure text. Now, let's look at the example of procedure text titled How to Make a Mango Juice. I will explain the generic structures one by one of this text. The goal is how to make mango juice. So this sentence tells us that what we are going to make, which is a mango juice. The materials, the materials or ingredients of this text are a ripe mango, a spoon of sugar, a half glass of the water, some ice cubes. These are the ingredients needed to make the mango juice. Okay. Next, move on to the step. The step one, first peel the mango and clean it. This means we remove the skin and wash the mango. The step two, step three, step four, and step five. These steps are written in order so the readers can follow them easily. So from this example, we can see, right, that a procedure text has a goal, materials, and steps, right? Procedure text is very useful because it gives clear instructions for doing or making something correctly. Okay, after discussing about procedure text, now I will explain about report text. And also, I give an example of this. So, what is report text? A report text is a text that presents factual information about something in general, such as animals, plants, phenomena, or objects. It means report text gives a real information based on the fact, not personal imagination or opinion. For example, animals like rabbits or cats, planes or phenomena. The purpose of report text is to describe and classifications information scientifically and objectively. So, the report text helps our readers understand information clearly based on the fact, right? Report texts usually have two generic structures. The first one, general classifications. These parts introduce and classify the subject being discussed. The second, descriptions. These parts explain the characters, habits, functions, qualities, or parts of this subject. And in my opinion, report text is important because it helps readers gain knowledge and understand information based on facts. It also useful for learnings about animals, nature, science, and many other topics. Let's look at Now let's look at an example of report text about rabbits. I will explain the generic structures one by one. The first one, the general classification part is a rabbit is a farm animals. The sentence introduces the topic, which is a rabbit, and tell us its classifications as a farm animal. The descriptions part is rabbits have a four leg and a tail. They have a long ears. A baby rabbit is called a kid. Rabbits eat grass and hay. Rabbits make sun. Blah 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 blah. So, this part explains the characteristic and habits of rabbits. For example, rabbits have four legs and long ears. Baby rabbits are called kids. They eat grass and hay, and they make a sound called thump. So, these details belong to the description section because they explain more information about rabbits, right? So, from this example, we can understand that report text contain general classification and descriptions. Report text is very useful because it provides factual information and helps us learn about things scientifically and clearly. Next, in the last topic, I'm going to continue the materials about narrative text. First, let's talk about the definitions of narrative text. Narrative text is a text that tells a story or a series of events. Usually, it involves characters, problems, and solutions. Narrative text can be fictional stories, fairy tales, legends, fables, or even personal experience. The main focus is to make readers interested in the story. So the purpose of narrative text is entertain, amuse, or teach moral value to the readers. Sometimes narrative story also give life lessons, and we can learn and apply in a real life. That's why narrative texts are not only fun to read, but also meaningful. Now, let let's move on to the generic structure of narrative text. Narrative text usually has three main parts. The first one is orientations. This part introduces the characteristics, setting, and time of the story. It tells us what is involved, where the story happens, and sometimes when it happens. The second one is classifications. This is about the problem or conflict in the story, usually something difficult or unexpected event or to the characters. The third, resolutions. This part shows how the problem is solved. The story ends here and the conflict is resolved. And now, my opinion about the narrative text. Narrative text is very interesting because it can entertain readers while also teaching important lessons and values, right? Sometimes we can learn about courage, honesty, kindness, or friendship from a simple story. That is why a narrative text is enjoyable for many people. Now, let's look at an example of a narrative text titled The Brave Mouse. The story is about a little mouse named Max who bravely saves some birds from a cat. Let's identify the generic structure. The orientation in this text is at the first sentence. In the small village, there lived a little mouse named Max. This part introduced the setting, which is a small village and also the main character. Max, the mouse. The complications start from the sentence. One day, he saw a cat sneaking up on some birds. This is a start problem in the story because the bird are is danger. The story continues with Max quickly thought of a clear plan. She directed the cat and led it away, giving the birds a chance to fly to safety. This show how Max tried to face the problem. Next, the resolution of this part. The villagers were proud of Max and called him a hero because he saved the bird without being afraid. This is the ending of the story. So the problem is solved because the birds are safe and Max becomes a hero. At the end of the story, there is also have a moral value. Courage isn't about size. Even the smalls can do great things. That the moral lessons teach us the bravery and kindness are more important than physical size or strength. So, from this example, we can clearly see the three parts of narrative text: the orientation, classification, and resolution. And for my that's all from my explanation about narrative text and the example of the brave mouse. Okay guys, thank you for watching this video. I hope this explanation helps you understand three texts before. See you in the next video and goodbye.